George was born and raised in Romania and educated as a meteorologist, a field he worked in for several years after graduation from university. He and his wife managed to escape from the repressive regime of the dictator Nicolae Ceausescu, and they eventually managed to emigrate to the United States. George saw the beginnings of computing on the horizon and decided to make a career of that, his work, which he has done to this day. In my mind, George is one of the most diligent observers and night sky photographers that I know. He and his wife have been to the Canadian North to observe and photograph the auroral display there a number of times. He's talented and tireless in his work with a camera, shooting both stills and then making videos of a lot of exposures to make a video of night sky phenomenon. George travels often to astronomical events from one end of the United States to the other, as well as to overseas locations. Tonight, his talk is about a visit to Chile. I'm thrilled that George has put together this talk and can't wait to see it. So, George?
Ken, thank you so much for the incredible introduction. It'll be a little tough to live up to
Hang
this.
on 1 second. I realized I need to put a speaker on this. Sorry.
Well, I think I'm going to start sharing.
It is recorded. Yeah.
And
Perfect. Go ahead.
just you asked about observing. So here's another comet shot that I got a couple of days ago.
Ooh.
I was going to High Point to repeat my previous one, which is, and they had closed it. This is Sunday night. They had closed it, and there is a little lake there. I said, maybe I can catch the comet, and it was pretty good. It's scary to be there. It's uh, it's the woods. I I was expecting a bear anytime. So full presentation mode here. Well, so these are really my impressions. I'm not a travel agent or a travel writer. Um, I'm just throwing there together a bunch of things like impressions, pictures, some little movies that I made, time lapses, and so why Chile? Um, well, if you start taking pictures of the sky, then you learn that what you see from the northern hemisphere is just half of it. So you want to see the other half, and then you hear from everybody who's seen the other half, or from pictures that, oh, it's much better. And I don't think it's just the grass is greener; it is better. The Milky Way, and then um, you have the Magellanic clouds that you never see from here. And speaking of Chile, there are other things to see in Chile. There is the Atacama Desert, billed as the driest desert in the world, and but still it's got interesting stuff there. It has flamingos. That's just very interesting. There are other places. Chile extends from 18 degrees south to 53 or so. So I'm sure you've seen it on maps. So there are so many climates, and also it goes along the Andes, and so there's Patagonia, there is the fjords down south, but they will have to wait. Um, so what did I do? I mean, how would I do this stuff? I've started looking for trips to Chile. I even talked to a travel agent. I said I want to do night sky photography, and they sent me to San Pedro, which is fine, but they put you in a hotel which is like $300 a night, and has a telescope in the backyard, and that's kind of it. And that's not exactly what I wanted. And then through my searches, I found Matt Dieterich. And Matt Dieterich organizes trips. He's been he worked for Planewave, and installing telescopes, so he really knows this stuff. And he has a relationship with this observatory, and he organizes trips there. It's a small group, 4 people plus him. Really nice, really kind of like easy to deal with. And we're staying in one place. I'll talk a little more about it. Um, and then I was looking um, for another place. This first observatory is in an area that I will call La Serena, which is uh, farther south, about 32 degrees of latitude, about an hour flight from north of Santiago. Um, Atacama, San Pedro is way north, 20 something degrees, I think 22 degrees of latitude. So there is some distance, some distance there. And there I was recommended Space Ops, and you will see a little more. The next phase. Okay, so I have the trip planned. Um, Now I'm looking for, okay, I'm going, so what am I going to do there? And I'm looking for targets. And it was really um, very lucky that Lydia Maria, who is in attendance, it just offered a Southern Sky presentation to the AAA. And I really enjoyed that. And I was taking notes all the time. I took like 2 pages of notes. I contacted Lydia and she helped me with additional information. She confirmed that that place, the Space Ops where I was going to stay, is fine, and it's probably the best place. Uh, I went to Stellarium and Telescopia, so I decided on a few targets, and now I'm looking to thin them out. I'm working with Stellarium and Telescopius to see what fits in my telescope, and what's available, what is up and where. And I ended up making a chart with the targets that I wanted. And also I had conversation there. Out of the 4 people in the trip, 2 had already been down there and were quite knowledgeable. So they had also suggestions. They said, I'm gonna try um, the running chicken or something like that, and I'll go and see what is that. So now it's what do I take with me? It's a long trip, so I want to do landscape, right? And then I also want to do deep sky. So these require different instruments. I'm thinking of weight limitations. I was going to take flights in Chile, so I flew Delta there, and Delta is kind of a known entity. But then inside Chile, there is LATAM. It turns out LATAM is fine. It actually is great, but I had no idea, so I had to do all this research. How much weight, the size. I measured my rolling backpack for lenses a few times to make sure it'll fit. And yeah, you need power, you need tripods. There is a lot of stuff that you need to include in the luggage, and it all needs to be, transportable. And um, since I'm a maniac with um, keeping track of things, I made this chart. I know um, some my wife and friends would laugh at me. But anyway, this is what this is my plan. The green is second priority. So I ended up. You can see here on the chart. You can see the sea star comes up on top, but it was not really my main thing. But I had to take it though. A 400 millimeter focal length telescope. It's a 71, I think, ASCAR. A 180 millimeter focal length and a lens of 85 millimeters. And then I have, this is for deep sky. For the others, of landscape, I had a bunch of other lenses. And there would be a 15 millimeter and a 14 millimeter. I had three cameras with me, so I could take time lapses, two time lapses at the same time, if there was an opportunity. I took a zoom lens, 28 to 100 millimeters for just mostly daytime landscape. And three cameras, like I said, I use Sony. The mount is an iOptron HEM15. This is a tiny, um, really tiny. What do you call them? The
Brainwave.
yeah. Uh, it's just 5.5 pounds, and it can run on a battery that you can actually take on an airplane for the whole night. I have a device that is not very popular, that it was very helpful. It's a Lacerta M Gen 3. So this is, you'll see in the picture, basically a small, very small camera and a device that helps with polar alignment. And yeah, actually, it's originally meant for guiding, but you can also do the polar alignment, which in the southern hemisphere is difficult. You don't have Polaris, and you don't have a replacement for Polaris. So that was an absolute necessity. MSM Nomad. What is that? It's a small uh, tracker. It's the smallest tracker that I think you can find these days. MSM stands for Move Should Move. It's a Chinese company, and they've been coming out with these. They have another tracker before Nomad, relatively inexpensive. The Nomad is pretty solid. It can carry a camera very easily. Um, Again, there is this caveat: you cannot do the polar alignment very well, but anyway. So tripod has panel gear. It adds up. So all the technical stuff, except for lenses, all the optics went in a camera backpack, a rolling camera backpack. This is a rather large Pelican case, and I managed to fit all the stuff in there. I have two layers. I made these pictures not to show, but rather to remember where I put everything and how to pack it back when the time comes.
George, how large was the case?
Oh, it's the it's about this big and this thick. It's a big thing. It's like a suitcase. It's not a carry-on. Okay, I'm going back for some reason. Oh, yeah, okay. Here. All right, so we're flying now. This is flying over Chile, and I'm trying to give the impression that this is approaching Chile. But I did take a bunch of pictures from the airplane, quite a few of them. What I noticed, this is this little observatory here. And this is not the only one. It looks like there is an observatory here. There are three of them. So it's really you know, the place where they go to install observatories. So this is my route: New York to Santiago, Santiago to La Serena. From there, we take a cab, whatever. There is some transportation that we had to take into the mountains. La Serena to Calama. Calama is the closest airport to San Pedro de Atacama, and then flying back both ways. You fly overnight, it's not the greatest thing. So instead of moving on, I decided to stay at a hotel. There is an airport hotel and Holiday Inn. I discovered that actually I was a member of whatever that the company that the holding company is, and they even gave me a discount. I could go in my room at 9 a.m., which is great. 1 hour flight next day to La Serena, where I met a couple, two more people on the trip, and everybody. That was really an interesting situation there because does anybody know what a Toyota Yaris is like? Toyota Yaris, they don't sell it in this country anymore, but they did. It's the smallest car that Toyota sells, that Toyota was selling in the US. So there I am with my big luggage, two bags. I mean, the Pelican and the bag, and the camera thing. And the other guys also had some luggage. Luckily, they didn't have quite as much. We ended up with the luggage in the car. Otherwise, we couldn't. We could not have taken all our stuff. We'd have had to use two taxis. A taxi takes us on good roads first, and then they get more windy, all asphalt. But then when it hits dirt, and we had Matt wait for us with a truck, and you can see a picture of the type of road that we drove. I have a video here. Slow down, Matt. Slow down.
This isn't good.
You're too close. You're too close.
Not a video.
So, do you hear any sound?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was pretending. I wasn't really scared, but
It was
you
the most
kind of
scared
get,
I'd ever been in my life.
but you can see the kind of road. And this is a road that they actually just built, and they said this road saves you 20 minutes. And finally, the observatory up on a hill. This area looks like, to me, it looks like Arizona, kind of the southern half of Arizona. It's kind of dry, and up on the top. This is a picture that one of the guys took, Matt Lapointe, and it shows. I wanted to show basically what one of their buildings looked like. Retractable roof, something like 12 telescopes here. I think these telescopes were some universities, some Korean universities telescopes, and it's all automated. The roof opens if the sky is clear at some point, and you can see this is kind of like a construction site, really. This is another view, looking the other way, and these are the other buildings, all alike or almost, and they're in this ladder formation, I suppose, to utilize as much as they can of the hill, the mountain there. In the distance, I have another shot of this. You have two tiny observatories. So these are Vera Rubin and Gemini South.
Wow.
They were only about 10 or 15 miles away, but in order to get to them, you'd have to drive 3.5 hours one way. Here is me inside another one of these observatories with a 1 meter telescope, plane wave. These are awesome telescopes. Who's got this telescope? Well, obviously institutions, and then there are actually people that have enough money that they can afford to do this, to get such telescopes. One of the people on the trip actually had one of those. There is the building where people live and actually, cook and whatever, anything other than, these telescope buildings they do there. It's not a very big building. They have like 3 or 4 bedrooms with bunk beds. So we bunked, 1 bathroom. There are 2 people who work there. They work shifts. They will be there 1 week. This guy in particular that I talked more with, Igor, is a Russian guy. And he lives in La Serena, and so 1 week at the observatory and 1 week down with his wife. He likes La Serena. It's a beach town. It's a nice town. Anyway, this display shows a whole bunch of things, and there are 2 of them, and I don't really know what they are, and the writing is really tiny. They look for what's called sky temperature, and that will tell them if it's cloudy or not, and at some point they'll automatically open the roofs. One thing that I was surprised is that they also have the SQM, sky quality meter there, and I used mine just to check, and theirs confirmed, and it was only 21 point, a little bit under 5, 21.47 or something like that. I thought it would be 22, but the astronomer, there are two astronomers, one French and one Chilean, own this. They started the business, and the French guy was there for 1 night. He had come to do a bunch of things, some work, and he said, "Yeah, that's because of the Milky Way. The Milky Way is very bright. Well, I'll believe him, but I don't know. So again, another view of the two observatories that I mentioned, Vera Rubin and Gemini South. Gemini North is in Hawaii. Maybe Stan is over there. From the hill looking down, and actually I did not see this, I noticed this in the picture only. Here's another observatory. This is my equipment. This is the HEM, really tiny. This is the camera for the guider and polar alignment, and there is a device that's hanging down here. It's got a screen, and you can look at it, and it gives you instructions, turn right, turn left, whatever. Let's see, I don't think there is anything remarkable. Just another view, batteries that you can carry on the plane. Is anybody trying to ask something?
The elevation, George?
The elevation here is about 4,500 feet. It's not tremendous.
Thank you.
So here's the Milky Way. This is the sky. So we got there first night. Just couldn't wait. I could not see anything in Santiago. I tried, just too bright. Barely you can see a few stars. So this was the first night, and I'm looking, and I'm asking, where is it gonna be? Where is it gonna rise? Okay, here is the core. Here is whatever. Well, the thing I wanted to look for was Southern Cross, and here it is. This is the Southern Cross, and it's right next to the coal sack. So somehow these things are, I don't know, just fascinate me that you can see such a black thing in the sky. And I wrote, yeah, it's not here. And here you have Eta Carinae, which is the largest nebula, the Magellanic Clouds, the large Magellanic Clouds and the small Magellanic Clouds, a cluster here, TUC, 47 TUC, Tucani. And this area here, it's not unfamiliar really, it's just in a funny position, right, Mike? Mike is in Brazil, and he gets this all the time. The Lagoon Nebula, right? I think. Antares, Rho Fuci. It was a thrill to see this with my own eyes, and as soon as it got dark enough, you could see it in twilight. As soon as it got dark enough, I jumped on the telescope and all my instruments, and I started taking pictures. So I'm going to share a few pictures. My processing is terrible. I mean, taking pictures may be relatively okay, but the processing is terrible. So apologies. So this is the small Magellanic Cloud and 47 TUC. Rho Fuci cloud complex. Just because I could. At some point I said I need to, I could not waste a moment and just what else is there? So let me try this. Omega Centauri. So this cluster and the next one, I think, are really stretching the capabilities of my 70 millimeter telescope. It's a 400 millimeter focal length. you need something like more like 2000 or more to get a good picture of the cluster. But I really wanted to have this like a trophy. This cluster is visible from the northern hemisphere, even from our latitude, but it is extremely low on the horizon. It's visible, I think, around June only. If you go farther south, maybe New Mexico, southern New Mexico, or southern Texas, probably you're going to get a better view. But here it was right up there, absolutely no problem getting it. So what the heck? And this is Centaurus A. They're not very far apart. Centaurus A is they call it a peculiar galaxy. And I think they don't know if it's, or they would consider it either lenticular or elliptical. And they also say with a superimposed dust lane. Going back here, this is Omega Centauri is the largest cluster in our galaxy. Is believed to be the largest cluster with about 10 million stars. It's a diameter 150 light years. And I always think what it would be like to be on a planet there. And I know that Sam has a comment about that. If I read some book, but I didn't read it. And Eta Carinae, this is single shot. It is very bright and didn't need much, very long exposure. And another shot, another single shot. I try to position it differently to catch these other clusters. And I think this is the wishing well. And the gem cluster. I had to look in Stellarium, and I'm not sure I got it right. And this thing here would be the Gabriela Mistral Nebula.
It's a fantastic photograph.
Oh, thank you. All right, so now wide angle. I left the camera out. Actually, I wanted to go there earlier, but somehow procrastinated, and I only started it when the sun was already down, although there is a little bit of a glow. And this is a time lapse. You will see the Milky Way. It does not fit in the lens, although this is a pretty wide lens, 15 millimeter focal length. When the Milky Way disappears, the Magellanic Clouds will come into the picture, and after that you will see on the left side some glow, which is the zodiacal light. All right, so let's get it going.
That is stunning.
Wow, that's really something, George. Really.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty spectacular.
Thank you. So if you notice, there is, it looks like you're seeing through water or something. It seems to be boom, especially after the Milky Way disappears. That's air glow. Okay, moving on. So this slide here is meant to say, okay, I'm going to the next location. We're going to be now in, well, flew to Calama, spend the night over there. Calama is a mining town. I think they have the record for the deepest copper mine. Copper is their specialty. I guess Chile is known for copper anyway. In the airport, there is a sizable number of gifts that are all copper. The roads, it's about an hour and a half, I would say. The roads are very good, flat, and then kind of climb a little slowly, and then you start going down into a valley, and this is it. Throughout Chile, actually, I don't know if it's throughout Chile, but in both places where I've been, they have these signs for tourists, and there is this upper part. It's kind of like the zone, Ruta del Desierto. In the south, where I was first place, the sign said Ruta de las Estrellas, the route of the stars, and then they have specific. This is Valle de la Muerte, Valley of Death. I have a picture or two from there. And the generic theme, Desierto, desert and archaeology. I don't think I need to translate too much because the words are very much the same.
George, what is that first symbol that looks like 3 layers of earth or something?
I guess archaeology, but there's more than archaeology because the ground is exposed, and you'll see what I mean in a couple of the pictures that I have here. You can see all sorts of layers, so it would be more like geology. I guess that's what that may mean.
Sounds good.
Kind of a sad note. Along the road, I've seen not one, not two, but quite a few of these little shrines. And this one is a bicycle. They'll have a picture. Generally, young people, I guess, accidents. It's pretty sad. So arriving at the residence, this is owned by the astronomer, like I mentioned, Alain Maury. This is in the middle of 2 little houses, an area where you can lay down and relax. It was very pleasant during the day in the shade. You can lay down. No, this is not my bed. Inside the little house had basically a bathroom, bedroom, and all the way in the back here, a little kitchen. And this is the bathroom and the bedroom. Very simple, but I think it was very tasty, tasteful. These decorations. And then from the bedroom window, this volcano that just fascinated me. The Cancabur, very, I wouldn't say typical because the other ones don't look like that, but you would guess this is a volcano if you looked at it, how it's conical shaped. and it'll show up in more pictures. On the other side, this is the driveway right here, and the there's a field, large field, where I put my cameras and took pictures. So I would put those there in the beginning of the night, and then I'll go to bed, maybe wake up a little bit from time to time and see what's going on. And it was pretty convenient, and it seemed very safe. I don't think anybody would come there to steal stuff. This was early in the evening. Orion was visible. Orion is upside down here. So this is Orion's head here, the shoulders, and the moon was setting. So who is this guy, Alain Moury? I copied this from Wikipedia, I think. He's somewhat, he's probably well known among astronomers. And he moved there with his wife. His wife is Chilean, so I don't know if he married her after he moved there, but he's got a bunch of things going in this place. Well, he does this hosting. I mean, there are a few little houses like mine, and very simple, no food. You're on your own with that. And then he's got a big property with a whole bunch of things. He's got notably this 1.15 meter telescope that I had the pleasure of looking through. Walking on the property, it's a large property. These things are grouped in a way that did not make much sense to me. But anyway, that's his problem. He probably rents these telescopes, or maybe he just rents the dome, maybe doing research. And this paved area is where he's giving his tours. He does give tours. While I was there, I actually caught him only on my last night. He had some family issues. He had to go with his wife. They did not show up until the last day. I was able to catch a tour that he was giving to a group of French people, but I'm lucky enough to speak French, so I could follow him. And this picture on the right, I took with my iPhone, and that's that big telescope, and you climb, I don't know how many steps to look into the eyepiece. So a little bit about the town. Well, it's not like I thought it was going to be. I'm looking for food and for beer, by the way. And I find these little stores. I ask, where is the supermarket? There is no supermarket. All you have is these stores, these little stores. And you find what you need. You could have even vegetables and so on. I found it's not easy to get around in the town. It's a little complicated, and Google is hopeless there. Google Maps. It took me on a route that I thought I'm lucky to even get out of there. But once I kind of learned a couple of turns, then I was fine. And this is one of the restaurants where I would get food. I'm sure there are better ones with more like what you'd expect. Here they seem to have just two dishes that they change today is a couple of things, tomorrow is a couple of other things. And for next to nothing, I got all this stuff here, chickpeas, and I think that's beef there, salad. It lasted me at least 2 days. This is one of the better streets, the commercial street. I had very little time to go in town. I was always on the road, so I had to, well, only one day I had to go and get some cash, and I spent more time here. And on the right, I think these people are homeless. I'm not sure. But I kind of like the dogs. I took a picture, and the guy said, he was not aggressive or anything, but more like took a picture of the dogs, give me $1 or whatever. He wanted some money. This picture I took for the clouds, for my membership with the Cloud Appreciation Society, but it's just another view of what streets look like. I mean, this looks like a poor neighborhood, but I don't think they are doing too badly. They seem to be pretty happy. Except for those two people there, I did not see much homelessness. I saw people having a party in the street, and you feel pretty safe. Another little restaurant there. They all have. I learned that they all have this PF thing. I don't know what it stands for. Okay, Likan Kabur. So now I'm driving around and sightseeing. So during the day I do sightseeing, and at night I have the cameras and things going, photography going. And flamingos. What's going on here? This is the driest place on Earth, no? Well, the driest place on Earth as far as precipitation. But you have the Andes on one side, and you have some other mountains on the other side. In the Andes, you have snow. The snow melts, it runs underground, and it comes up to the surface in this valley. It's kind of like a valley in between mountains. There was a guy there who said, well, it has nowhere to go, so it has to come up. It is a little salty. The minerals, it carries minerals, and the minerals include salt. So when the water comes to the surface and it evaporates, you'll have these salt fields, salar. Flamingos eat a tiny shrimp, which lives in this salty water. You have flamingos all over. There are several places where you have flamingos. I learned that flamingos can fly 200 kilometers. They'll fly the whole length of Chile. So the volcano is here on the left. The altiplano. So what's the altiplano? It's the high plain. It's 13,000 to 14,000 on average elevation. The volcano and these mountains, there are a few of them. They are pushing 18,000 feet. It's less, but they're close. And again, I was fascinated with the open view and how far you can see. So basically, this road, you can see it go up and up and up and up. And that's what I took. I went up to 13,000 feet. I was looking at my GPS, and when it reached 13,000, I said, okay, I can go back now. It was getting a little dark too. So on one of these trips, I see this thing, and then I see a sign, and it says Alma. So this is the gate to Alma. Here is the gate. Uh, I was a little bit shocked when I saw these solar panels pointing north. I said, what's going on? Well, of course they're pointing north. We are in the southern hemisphere. They're pointing towards the equator. And up here, you can see some buildings which I believe belong to Alma. I have no idea what's going on. When I move the cursor over the picture, it becomes bright. I hope it's not too annoying. I know from Kat Trochi, who went there on a different trip, that they check you out to go up to Alma. Alma is very high. I don't know what the elevation is, but it's really high. And depending on your physical condition, they may not allow you to go up there. Unfortunately, I was not prepared for this. And, I knew Alma was there, but I did not consider going there in my plans, and sort of didn't have time to go. They have a certain schedule that I don't remember exactly, but it was difficult to put that. But if I'd go again, I would try that. And here's another picture at I'm trying to show like all these levels. So we are at 8,000 feet, and this thing here is who knows how high. Okay, that's the Chilean version of Death Valley, Valle de la Muerte. They also call it Valle de Marte, the Valley of Mars, for some reason. And it's all these formations. It's just fascinating. Notice on the left side here, there are a couple of people walking. There is a road on the right here, and then it continues with what road you see here. This road is blocked, and I decided to turn around and go to a higher point, drive to a higher point. These people were just a little bit ahead of me, and I caught them from that distance. And here is Ken, maybe what they mean by that sign, those layers in my mind.
Yeah.
Layers and layers, and exposed, cut in the ground. And look at these colors. So a few pictures that I took. Tracking the Milky Way. So this is with a 45 millimeter lens on my simple tracker. And it was not very well polar aligned, so it drifts a little bit. So there was these were two sessions, one with clouds and one without clouds. So this is what I wanted to capture, the galactic core rising. Remember May 11, 12, the aurora craze? I was there and I was kind of, man, I'm missing out. So I pointed the camera southward. I said, if there's something in the north, then it's got to be something in the south. Although I was very far from the South Pole. 22 degrees is like Cuba is, how far Cuba is from the North Pole. And this is what I've got. So there is a glow that is definitely auroral, and this red is not normal. So it appeared, it faded away, it appeared again, and along with it, I took some shots of, the sky in general.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And now to kind of wrap it up, I tried to get the Milky Way, but I never quite succeeded in getting the whole picture. But anyway, I kept trying. So I have two pieces here where I started basically at dusk, and I went on through the night, and then you'll see the sun come, and I just put them together. 2 minutes of Milky Way with music. And you'll see the colors of the sky changing. You see this insane green air glow. And there are some other colors. You'll see the moon also. You'll see the shadow of my telescope. The shadow from the moonlight and from the sunlight in the morning. This is pointing directly up. You see the moon disappearing on the right. Some thin clouds make the stars brighter, bright stars brighter. So that's another day, pointing straight south. There's again that air glow. Those days were with a lot of geomagnetic activity.
Oh, there's the telescope.
Yep. Yeah, there was a shadow from the moon as well, but it kind of like goes a little faster, so easy to miss. And thank you.
George, thank you. I mean, that was amazing. It really was. Very nicely done. I thought John Williams did your music for a minute there.
I'm saying, say it again.
I thought John Williams was doing your music.
John Williams. I don't know who's doing. Yeah, I got more pictures, but I think it's pretty late. But I have a couple of pictures on Flickr. This is when I was coming back from the Altiplano, looking into the valley, and to me this looked like a whale. And you go back.
It does look like a whale.
There's a desert whale. Oh, I lost it. Oh, here we go. We've pretty much seen these, but more colors, lots of colors in the desert. This is in the first place. This is not Atacama, it's the other place. Flamingos. This is close up, Kapoor. More lenticular clouds. Plenty of lenticular clouds. UFOs. Donkey, the three donkeys. So you see how the ground is whitish? That's salt. And you see there is vegetation there. There must be water coming from the ground. It's like little oasis.
How do those observatories or the places you stay get their water? Do they truck it in, or do they actually have?
Yeah, they did. They did. Actually, yes. We at some point we ran out of water and they just switched over to the reserve, and then the truck came up and dumped a whole load. Slushing. Yeah, so this is pretty much it. Well, folks, thank you very much.